Hey friends, it's Ruben with Hi-Fi MIDI. Sorry for that delay. I like to be right on time, and I figured out that my stream output was actually set to Facebook. So I just did a live stream on Facebook not too long ago, and I still had it set on that. So now, hopefully it's streaming to you and you can hear everything. If you're out there, please say hello. I want to know that you can hear me, that everything's good. The video is good as well. As you can see, I just got a new camera, so I have, aside from my webcam, which I usually use, I have a camcorder facing down on the keyboard so that you can see this. Now, I've only done, I think, one hardware review in the past, and that was the Nord Electro 5D, I believe, which I sold. I've had this Nord Stage 3 Compact 73 for about a year and a half. Nord came out with it in 2017, and I remember I was on their I saw their Facebook post about the Stage 3, and I got excited and I went onto their site to see what features it had, and based on the features alone that it announced, I thought I have to have this. So just for just an overview, the features were 2 OLED displays, seamless transitions, which I might get into later if I remember, extended split, song list mode. In the piano section, they doubled the memory and they expanded the polyphony. They have creative filters, layer category. The synth engine has a Nord Lead A1 synth engine with sample playback, 480 megabytes of sample memory, which if you're, for most people, that's going to be more than enough. Extended polyphony, super wave category. And the organ section, this was... I would have bought it just for this alone. The organ section has a C2D engine. The reason why that sold me basically was because I wanted to buy the C2D for the organ sound, and the fact that it was already in this keyboard made it an easy purchase for me, especially because they're about the same price. And let's see what else. The physical drawbars on the Compact 3, the 76 key and 88 key version have the digital drawbars, which I didn't really want. Plus, this version has the lighter keys; they're semi-weighted. And then we have the effects section. So I'm going to go through these really quickly. If you're not familiar with Nord, hopefully this will I'll make sense of this. So Nord has 3 different sound engines. They have the organ, which is separate. Right here, they have piano and they have synth. And then on the right side, you have your effects sections, which can be applied to all of these at the same time. Additionally, you have panel A and panel B, which doubles the sound engine. So I could have an organ sound, and then I can quickly switch to B and have a different organ sound. For example, a B3 on panel A and a pipe organ on panel B. And I can actually layer them. So you have 2 organs in one keyboard. And then the same applies for piano. Same applies for the synth section. So let's hear it. Sorry, my camcorder shuts off every I think it's about 2 minutes. And then it turns back on. I still need to figure out how to turn that off. So in the organ section, you have your models. You have your B3, Vox, and you can toggle that through by clicking this. You have your Farfisa, Pipe 1, and Pipe 2. I'm going to mess with the B3 and show you some of the sounds on here. So right now, I'm going to pull down some of the drawbars to get a lot of those tones, and I'm going to add the Leslie. That's the pipe organ. Sorry about that. It's such a beautiful sound. I love the B3. If you don't know what the B3 is, a Hammond B3 organ is the most popular organ that Hammond has ever sold. It's such an iconic sound, and you heard it with the Leslie. So I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to go through these drawbars. So if you don't know how an organ works, in a real organ, you have an AC motor that's spinning this, like, I don't know what it's called. It's like a drive shaft, but that has gears on it, and those gears have teeth that modulate this magnetic field, and that produces a tone. And you have all these different tones being produced in the organ. And what drawbars do, I think they make the pickup get closer to those tone generators. So what you hear when, like, for example, in the 16-foot drawbar, I'm going to pull it down, and it's going to make that tone come out. So this tone is like a sine wave. This is what a Hammond would sound like, clean, without any amplification or any Leslie. Very gentle. And you hear that little staticky sound, or that little attack sound. Now, as you go up the drawbars, you start getting different tones. And I'm going to first play 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1, since they're all an octave higher than the other. So this is 8, adds an octave. This is 4. And 1. It's like a pipe organ sound. But then it starts getting interesting harmonically when you start adding 5 1/3. 2 2/3. 1 3/5. I'm going to go through them one more time. So you can start shaping the sound. That's the basic clean sound of a Hammond. But there are other features on here, like the percussion. Percussion sound, I'm going to play it by itself so that you can hear what it sounds like. So I have all the drawbars off and the percussion button on. So when I hold it, you hear it start to die off or fade out. And then you can shape that percussive sound, make the volume soft, make it decay quickly, so it's like more staccato. Or you can change the harmonic. Now, what's the point of it? It's to give the organ a faster attack and a more percussive sound. This is without it. For more jazzy stuff. Now, a Hammond wouldn't be a Hammond without the Leslie emulator. So on this side, you have a rotary speaker emulator. So when you turn it on, you can toggle through organ, piano, or synth. So that means that you can actually make a Leslie organ, piano, or synth sound go through the Leslie emulator. But for now, I'm going to keep the organ on the emulator. So what this does is that it amplifies the sound and makes it sound like it's coming out of the Leslie speaker which is it's a big speaker with two horns that spin whenever you turn it on, and that horn can spin at different speeds, causing like a little Doppler stereo effect. It's really cool. So in its default mode, it's set on slow, which means that this horn spins slowly, so you can hear this movement. So if you're listening on some stereo speakers or on some headphones, it's gonna capture this effect. Now we have a slow and a fast mode. So the fast mode is where it gets really exciting. So toggling between fast and slow is very common. And they also have stop mode, meaning instead of setting it to slow, you get this pure tone. The horn stops spinning and you lose that movement. So I'm going to turn that on. See how it sounds very smooth? Now I'm going to turn stop mode off and slow mode's going to kick in. So you start hearing some movement there. Let's open it up. It's gorgeous. Let's listen to some other effects like vibrato. I'm going to turn off the Leslie. Hammonds come with their own chorus button, and this does too. So it has vibrato 1, chorus 1, vibrato 2, C2, V3, and C3. So I'm going to toggle through those. This is chorus. Chorus 2, and chorus 3. Now, I showed you the B3. I'm going to show you the other organs that it has. So this is the Vox, which is another famous... This one has, I think it has fewer drawbars that you can access. But you can still shape the sound as well. And the Farfisa. Very cool. And then you get your chapel pipe. This is called pipe 1. This sounds good. On the effects section, you have reverb. I like putting Hall on this. This is such a beautiful sound. Very serene. I'm gonna give it some more reverb tail. Their second pipe organ is just as beautiful. especially great if you play in a church that uses those traditional sounds like organ, pipe organ, or even a B3. This has it all for you. Another cool thing is that you have your preset button right here. So if you have an organ sound that you like, you can quickly access a different setting just by pressing the preset 2 button. I'm going to turn that off. All right, so that's the organ section. I'm going to move on to the piano. So I'm going to turn that off. Now I don't hear anything. And the piano section is just one of my favorite parts of this. Their Royal Grand 3D is gorgeous. Now they have different categories like grand, upright, electric, clav, digital, and layer. Let's toggle through those. So the cool thing about this is that you can actually set which sounds you want in here. So if you don't like the Royal Grand, you can choose another sound like Yamaha C7, for example, or a Bosendorfer. And Nord gives all these sounds for free on their website. So if you own a Stage 3, you can download all their newest sounds. And they have different sizes because obviously the space is limited to 2 gigabytes. So you can load all of them, as many as you want, as long as they fit within those 2 gigabytes. So they come in different sizes: extra large, large, and medium. And each one has just a little bit more detail than the next one. So aside from the different categories, I'm going to quickly go through the EQ presets. We have soft, mid, and bright. So you can toggle through those. You don't have to use them. But here's soft. Here's mid, which gives it a mid boost. This is great if you're performing live and you don't hear the sound cut through. You can change it, or if you feel like there's too much brightness or something, you can change that as well. Set it to soft. And then we have bright. It's really cool. Now let's go through the different sounds. All of these sound beautiful to me. Now, aside from the different pianos that you can choose, you can also change the settings like soft release, string resonance, and pedal noise. Sometimes I use those, sometimes I don't. But it's as easy as just clicking a button and toggling through those sounds. I don't really use a layer detune button. So I'm not sure what that's for. Now there's a lot of things about this keyboard that I still don't know about because there's just a lot to it. You can change the keyboard sensitivity. So all the way to 3 means that it's very sensitive. So it doesn't take a lot to get a loud sound out of it. And when they're all off, that means it's in its default linear mode. All right, let's go through more sounds. I want to hear some upright. This is the Bambino upright. Now, black upright, I'm not sure what model that is, but the information is available on their website. love honky tonk piano. Mellow. Beautiful sound. Saloon. Electric is one I often use. So they have some amazing Rhodes Wurlitzer sounds in here. Here's a Wurlitzer. And then we have the clove section and harpsichord. Can you play Yanni Nostalgia piano? I'm not familiar with that. I haven't listened to Yanni since I was a little kid, unfortunately. Here's a DX7, famous sound from Yamaha. This takes me back to the 90s. So there's a lot of sounds available for you. And, one thing I didn't touch on is the fact that you can assign different effects to these so you can get even more sound capabilities. And I'm going to show you one setting that I love. So I have let's find it, a Wurlitzer. Over here in the effects section, you have the ability to assign effects to certain voices. Like if I want tremolo on piano, we have organ, piano, and synth. You have to toggle through those. Right now it's already set to piano, but I can toggle through those by double clicking. This is one thing I don't really like, but it works. The fact that you have to double click to toggle through them. So here I have it on piano, and then right here we have effects. We have automatic pan, tremolo. I forgot what RM is for. Wah, auto wah, auto 1, auto wah 2. So I'm going to set it to tremolo, and you can set your tremolo rate and your tremolo amount. So I guess the depth of it. Maybe it'll sound better with the Rhodes. you can also set things like flange, phase, vibrato, chorus. I'm going to do that. I like using the vibe. It gives it a spooky sound. Here's phase. Now, one of the reasons this is I love the setup is because this is great for live musicians. I don't use this much in the studio because this is not a great MIDI keyboard. I mean, yes, you can play sounds, but the functionality is not it's not as intuitive as on other keyboards, and you can't change the octave for MIDI. So if I wanted to access some sounds that are triggered by notes that are beyond this E right here, even if I changed the octave on here, I wouldn't be able to access it. It works on my montage, and that's one of the reasons why I bought the montage. But that's the frustrating thing about this. But as for live, it's probably on top, if not one of the top live keyboards. Live performance keyboards, I should say. So let's listen to the flange. Chorus. Now, one of the things I love about it too, another thing I mean, is that it feels very musical. Where my montage in the back, and I might do a review of it one day once I figure everything out. The montage feels very utilitarian and clinical and too perfect. This gives you a feeling of being able to create music or being organic, even though most of the things, everything in here is digital. Even the analog emulation, that's digital. It feels musical. So then we have our delay section here. I'm going to add it to the keyboard just so you can hear what it sounds like. You have your tempo. You can tap it. And then you can set it to ping pong by pressing the shift button and clicking ping pong button. So it's going to bounce back and forth, left and right. That's a really cool effect. So very quickly, you can start making some interesting sounding music. All right, and then quickly turn it off if you don't want to hear it. Then you have your dryness. So you can set it all the way wet, very dry. Meaning how much of the original signal, the dry signal, is going in, how much of the affected signal is going out. You have your filter, so the delay can only apply to certain frequencies, high pass, low pass, and I don't know what B pass is. I'll have to figure that out later on. Have a good night, Jürgen. I think that's just the way you pronounce your name. Greetings from California. And then you have your amp simulator section. This is cool. So turn that on. It works the same way. You can toggle through organ, piano, or synth. And then you have your drive button here. So when you start hitting it hard, it starts breaking up like a tube amp. Very cool. And then you have your EQ, bass, mids, treble, and then you have an amp simulator. So if I wanted to make this sound like it was running through a Fender, JC is. Junior. Ooh, that hurt my ears a little bit. Then you have your compressor. And it'll show you when it's being activated. The little red light turns on right here. Lots of things you can do. So that is the keyboards. And then let's go to the synth section. Now the synth and the sample section are combined into one. Synth uses the A1 lead engine, so you can quickly start creating your own synthesizers or synth sounds, like a lead sound or something. So right now I have it on classic, and it's starting me off with the saw wave. Now this sounds weird right now because of some default settings. So I'm going to open that up. We have an envelope shaper right here, so I'm going to set the attack to 0. Set the sustain all the way up. Now that sounds boring by itself. And actually it's polyphonic, so that's one of the cool things about it. Oh, let me take these effects off. I don't know if they're affecting the sound. But then you can layer a second oscillator. So I'm going to change this to, I'm going to toggle through the different sounds. So we have a saw wave, square. I wonder if they have sine. Yes, they have sine right here. Triangle, saw, square. Then pulse 33. They have many different shapes available. I'm going to keep it on triangle, and then I'm going to hit the shift button and turn on the oscillator 2 and toggle until I see a second oscillator. I want another triangle, but right here it says 0 semi, meaning it's the same pitch as the first oscillator. But now I'm going to turn it up to make it an octave higher. Oh, the reason I don't hear it is because the mix is all the way set to the first oscillator. So Oscillator Control, this is gonna set the mix. So now you're gonna hear the second one. I have it right in the center, meaning you can hear the first oscillator and the second oscillator equally. Or you can make them unison. I apologize about the camera. You can make them unison and detune it just a little bit. So I'm going to hold shift. Oops. I'm going to raise the volume of this. It's hard to hear. Not sure I like that. Let me change this a little bit. Maybe I'll use a saw. And then over here you have mono and legato. I'm going to set it to legato, meaning that it's going to give me a smooth transition between notes, and I can only play one note at a time. Now I can set vibrato to it, and this is really cool because on other keyboards it takes a long time to do this. Even in Omnisphere, I still haven't been able to figure it out how to do it in Omnisphere. It's very complicated, but on here it's very simple. So you have a delayed vibrato, meaning that if you press your key, it does it after a short while. Delay 2, a little bit longer. Delay 3 is just longer than that. Then wheel means that I can set the vibrato to my will. Or aftertouch. This keyboard comes with aftertouch, so if I press a note just a little bit harder, I get the vibrato. Now this sounds boring by itself. It starts sounding better when you start adding reverb and delay. You can set the glide, how fast it glides from one note to another. So this is immediate. To very long. And this is awesome because I was trying to find that sound on Uptown Funk. There's this siren sound almost, and I was trying to build it in here, and I finally got the sound that I was looking for. So I'm gonna go into song mode because I have it saved there. It's called Synthrise. And that's it. It's just simple like that. So I'm having to go between notes very slowly, and I have it slightly detuned so it has that really fat sound to it. This is what it sounds like if I take off legato. Let's turn that back on. Get out of song mode. So that's the classic synth engine. And if let me turn that on again. Oops. So it's very easy to shape those sounds and then bring out some more of those frequencies. Let's go to the different set or different modes. Here's wave. This is just another synth engine with different types of sounds. Formant sounds like a voice. Strange. I don't use that. I never use that. Superwave. This is very beautiful. The way that you can shape this is nice. I'm going to take that out of legato. So I made a video on YouTube of how to get a worship sound. Somebody asked how to make a worship sound, and I said that that's very subjective. If you play in church, and I assume they were talking about contemporary Christian music. If you play in church, a lot of the newer music is going to use piano. It's going to be piano driven. Have these big synth sounds that can open up and sound bright, but that can be subdued or closed and sound very mellow and warm. Superwave is good for that. So you can set the attack. Set the attack to come in slowly, even slower than that. You can set the release to be a little longer. Now, how do you make it open up or get mellower? That's the frequency knob right here. So if I have it almost all the way down, it's going to give me the low frequencies of that sound. So right now it's too low to hear. And then when I start lifting this or turning this, I get this lush, beautiful, airy sound. There's another sound in here in the Superwave section that I like. It's called the Superwave organ. It sounds very cinematic. Same thing applies to this, where you can open it up with the frequency button. Now when you're playing, you don't want to have your hand right here, especially if you're playing large chords like this. You want to be able to control it a different way by either a control pedal or even your mod wheel, since you have it close by to your left hand. So there's an easy way to do this, and this is one of the things I love about this, is so you have to tell the keyboard where to assign it. And the way you do that is, I'm going to set my frequency really low, and over here on the top, the morph assign menu, I'm going to hit wheel. That means I'm going to assign this frequency knob to this mod wheel right here. So when it's all the way down, I want the frequency to be low. So I'm going to hit this, and I'm going to start turning it. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to set my frequency low first, and then I'm going to hit my wheel button, and then I'm going to start raising it. That means that all the way up. That means that when the mod wheel is all the way up, it's going to be as bright as possible. So let me show you how that works. So right now I have it low, meaning it's only letting the low frequencies pass. And as I raise this, it opens it up. I hope that was easy to understand. So one more time, just in case you didn't understand, and I'm going to apply it to a different controller. So I have a foot controller right now that I can step on and push forward, rock forward and backward. I don't like using that because, or at least this one that I have, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So set the frequency all the way down, meaning that when the controller is back, the frequency is only letting the low sounds go in. So I'm going to go to control pedal and then turn the frequency knob all the way up. Now I can use my controller. So right now I'm pulling it back. Now I think I have another setting assigned to control pedal right now. That's why you hear that little wobbliness in there. But I just want to show you how easy that is. All right, let's go to the sample section now. So that was the S wave. Let's go to the sample section. So this is the weak point of the Nord, and some sounds are okay, but I don't really like this to use this section that much. The samples are very two-dimensional. They have no depth to them. They literally only have one layer of sound, and that's also one of the good things about this, is that it takes up very little memory, and you can easily make your own samples. And I'll get into the software aspect of the Nord later, but I don't like using the sounds in here, and I'll go through them and let you hear why. They're pretty lifeless. So here's Orchestral Strings Legato. Now all these samples can be shaped as well by their envelope, and all the effects here, legato, you can do all that to it as if it was, because it's part of the synth engine. Now these are some sounds that I installed here. I'm not going to go through all of them. Perhaps to your listeners, this is going to sound good, especially when you couple it with the piano, and I'll do that for you right now. So I'll get a nice string sound. Yeah, I don't like that. So I'll give it a slow attack. And I'll add piano. It's not great. Oops. Some of those sounds are nice. The problem with doing it in this mode right now is that all those settings will apply to the next sample. So you need to be careful. But that's where we get into saving programs. So once you get a sound the way you like it, you save that program so you can store it very easily, name it by pressing Shift, Store As, and then it will let you change the sound, and it's going to store it in a certain box, like I mean a certain list. So they have A through Z, and in each of those you have different banks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I forgot the number, but I'm gonna get out of this and I'll show you. So we have A12. So 15. No, it looks like 5 in each letter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 21. I'm not sure why they set it up like that, but you have a lot of slots where you can save your own programs very easily, and you can combine them, and it's going to recall all the settings really quickly. So that's one of the good things about this that makes it a live performance keyboard. The next thing is song mode, and this is something I use all the time. So right now I have it on Uptown Funk. This is a song I saved. Song mode allows you to save those sounds or those programs that you made into little banks right here, 5 for each song. So right now I have slot 1 with Synth Rise. That's a sound I played for you earlier. And with the seamless transitions, you can hold that and change your sound. Very easily without it cutting off like older keyboards. So you can save those. You can save different songs by changing the page like that. Change your song name by Store As and change the song name like that, and then save it very easily. So I didn't want to make this video too long. We're approaching an hour, but in summary, we have 3 amazing sound engines, and I didn't even get to the fact that you can have 2 sounds at the same time because of the different panels, or you can connect a different keyboard and use an organ sound on the top and a piano sound on the bottom independently. It's amazing what you can do with this. You have so much control. This thing is like a spaceship almost. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that if you've been on the fence about buying this, you heard the sounds. You heard only a few of the sounds, and I didn't even play through all of my favorite. That's some of them. This is an incredible keyboard, and I'm so glad that I bought it. I think I'm going to use it for many years to come. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please give this a thumbs up. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel. I'll hopefully be posting more hardware reviews other than software reviews. And leave a comment below telling me what you like about this keyboard or what you think about this video. And if you feel inclined to do so, I have a Venmo and PayPal link in the description where you can support my channel for more of these videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.